Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to look at a governor election prediction for 2020. We've already done a presidential one for Biden and Trump and a Senate prediction. So now we're going to look at the governors. Not as many governor elections as like senator elections, but we'll take a look anyway. So we'll start with the safe states for the Democrats. First thing, Delaware, probably the safest of the lot. No solid challenger here. Incumbent Democrat, plus 27 approval. I can see it being pretty safe for that reason. And obviously being a presidential year, it's likely that a lot of people will just vote down ballot, same party, and in Delaware, obviously that would heavily favour the Democrats. Secondly, Washington, I believe, will be safe. Again, not really any real Republican challenger here. And also you've got the name recognition of Jay Inslee, obviously being a presidential candidate for 2020. Again, similar argument for the presidential year. His approval is only +6, but I think that can be partly attributed to his name recognition. Like, he's a very well-known character, so obviously he's going to be quite divisive. So I think Washington is going to be pretty safe for the Democrats in this case. I believe they're the only two safe Democratic seats, so we'll move on to the safe Republican seats. We will start with Utah. So the governor there, Herbert, he's actually retiring this year. He was very popular. He had a plus kind of 24 approval. I think you've also got, obviously, the Trump factor and that kind of thing. So I think whoever comes in for the Republicans will get a pretty convincing win in Utah. Secondly, Indiana, I think, will also be safe for the Republicans. Holcomb is the incumbent, and we've actually had a bit of polling data here. He's in the last poll, he was up by 20 points, 45 to 25 over Myers. So it seems like, again, a pretty substantial victory is looking likely there. Also, obviously, on the presidential level, you've got people like Mike Pence as vice president. So I think that will only help the Republican cause going into this election. And then finally, North Dakota, I believe, will be safe. Doug Burgum plus 38 approval here. He's one of the most popular governors in the whole of the US. Again, no serious challenger on the Democratic side. North Dakota obviously being such a solid Republican state as well, that it really doesn't seem likely that it could be anything other than safe. And then the final safe Republican state, I believe, will be Missouri. Kind of tough whether to call this as safe or likely, but Mike Parson has a really solid lead in all the polling data that we've seen. Obviously, being an incumbent gives him a slight advantage. You've got the Trump factor. Missouri's obviously solid Republican state anyway. He's a very well-liked governor, plus 25 approval. So I think it's probably right to put it in the safe column. And then we'll move on to the likely states. So likely Democratic states. Only North Carolina, I believe, will be the only likely Democratic state. Roy Cooper, the incumbent. We've had quite a few recent polls here. In the April ones, we've seen plus 13 to plus 17, ranging between those figures against Dan Forest. So it does seem like Cooper is pretty safe. He's a very well-liked governor, again, with a plus 15 approval. I don't think the Trump factor will play as big a role as it can in other states, even though I do think Trump is likely to win North Carolina. It's not going to be such a huge margin that it will really affect races like this, I believe, where you've got a really popular incumbent governor. So I believe that will be likely. And then likely for the Republicans, I believe we'll start with New Hampshire. I believe that will be likely. Chris Sununu is the incumbent here. He's very popular, plus 29 approval rating. The only thing stopping it from being safe, I believe, is the fact that it is a presidential year. And I don't believe that the Republicans are going to win New Hampshire. Trump is really, really getting more and more unpopular in the state. And I don't think that will change by November. So I think that will have a slight effect. But obviously, I think Sununu's popularity will still overcome any dislike for Trump here. So I believe that will be likely. Similarly with Vermont, I believe that will be likely as well. Phil Scott, the incumbent, incredibly popular governor, plus 43 approval. Similar story here, really. I believe that the fact that it's a presidential year will make it slightly less safe than it otherwise would be. But he's very popular. I can't see it getting competitive there, really, in Vermont. And then finally, for the likely Republican states, where West Virginia, Jim Justice, very well known here. The only thing stopping it from being safe is his approval rating. He's actually one of the least, he's the least approved of governor who's actually running in this election with a -1, which looks on the surface pretty dangerous for his chances. But he's very well known. He's got a lot of name recognition. And again, I believe with it being a presidential year, I think Trump will pull him over the finish line quite convincingly, with West Virginia being one of the most Republican states, despite his approval rating. And then finally, we have Montana. I had a great deal of trouble deciding whether this would tilt to either party. In the end, I did say it would tilt to the Democrats. My reasoning for this is I believe, obviously, Bullock isn't going to be running because he's term limited here. He's running for the Senate instead. I actually do believe that the Senate race will go the other way to Republicans just about. But for the governor race, Bullock was incredibly popular, plus 21 approval. And ultimately, I went for it because it was the Democrats are the incumbent party. I think despite any advantage that the Republicans might get from Trump and it being a presidential year, I do think the Democrats can outweigh that with them having a popular governor, previous governor here, even though he's not running again. They still are the incumbent party. And I do believe that Montana may just tilt to them. In terms of who's running, it looks like it might be Mike Cooney for the Democrats. So he's lieutenant governor and former secretary of state. So I do think he is quite well known in Montana, which will also help. The Republicans don't really have a very well known figure compared to Cooney. So I think that could help in the Democrats' favour as well. So ultimately, I do believe that Montana will just about tilt in their favour. So this is the map that I've got for now. Again, could change by November, but I do think I think this is what I've got it at for now. I think the only one that really has a realistic chance of changing and could possibly go to the Republicans instead is Montana. The others all seem pretty safe for their respective parties. So I've actually got, in summary, every state actually staying with their current party. So 26 to 24 to the Republicans. So a narrow victory here, similar to my Senate prediction, actually. But yeah, that's what we've got it at. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed.